Season 4 of Apex Legends is released, and we have a host of updates to weapons, brand new weapons, care package weapons being moved to the world weapons being moved to care packages, and so much weird stuff. Let's break it all down and what I think is the most important for you all to know right now. Thank you to EA for sponsoring this video. Sentinel is your brand new sniper rifle. It is a bolt-action sniper rifle, and it deals 65 damage to the body against your normal targets, and it has a 2x headshot multiplier, meaning 130 damage headshots, modified of course by whatever kind of helmet your opponent is wearing, and whether or not they have low profile or fortified as passives. It also has a special trait where if you use a shield battery, one of the big shields, and you charge it into your sniper rifle, you empower your shots, and you basically give yourself an equivalent of the old disruptor rounds hop-up, but instead of it being a hop-up, you consume one of the batteries in your inventory to make this power-up happen. It takes roughly 5 seconds for you to channel your shield battery into the gun, but once you do so, for about 6 shots, give or take, depending on how quickly you take them, you are able to deal a complete shield rip to any target that you shoot. So it's a little confusing how it works, and the rule of thumb seems to be this. First, when you hit your target, the game will deal 65 damage as per normal, and then modify it based on any other modifiers that it needs to. Then, if the opponent still has shields left, it will deal exactly enough damage to drop their shields to 0 and leave them at nothing but health with no armor. So this is why your damage numbers when using this this firing mode, let's say, might look a little weird to you, and it might seem all wacky and all across the board. This is basically what's happening. We can dive a little bit deeper down the road and give you some actual damage formulas, but just as a rule of thumb, this is the easiest way to think of it. The game will deal your 65 damage, or 130, whatever, first, and then if there are still shields remaining on the opponent, it will strip them down to 0. So, of course, just like disruptor rounds of old, this is not going to help you whatsoever against the flesh of an opponent, but against their shields, you're gonna give them a real bad time. So, is this good enough to be useful? Generally speaking, in my opinion, no. But I think that in those situations where it's one team versus one team, or maybe there's 3 teams left, something like that, and you're in one of those weird engagements where you know that everyone is going all in, you have 2 to 3 or more shield batteries in your inventory, and you are pretty confident that you are not going to pop both of those in the fight, and you're just going to hard commit, then getting that damage buff on is going to be potentially really, really strong, because this sniper rifle has an incredibly fast weapon swap speed. So this is kind of like your Intervention or other snipers you may remember from other first-person shooters of old. Shoot your shot, and then fast swap to something else, and pray that that first one hit, you get that armor rip for 100 damage, or however it calculates out. And you swap to your secondary, like an R99, Peacekeeper, whatever else, and you mop up. So is this something that is going to be used a lot? No. In about 12 to 16 hours of playing since this update has come out, in my time using this weapon, I have actually dropped a battery into it exactly once. I've never felt it was right in any other situation, and in the one time I did it, theoretically it was really good, but I just was bad at aiming and missed all my shots, and it felt really bad, and you'll watch the clip here and watch back how I died, and it felt terrible, but the idea was there, right? So you can see, like, as I'm in a 1v3 situation and an entire enemy team is pushing at me, if I'm able to play my angles right and get a big shot off and strip someone's armor and then immediately mastiff them down, I'm in potentially a really, really good spot to win a 1v2 and potentially even a 1v3. So just keep that in mind. The sniper can allow you to make some clutch plays, but it's just such a small, minor thing that you're probably only going to do in casual matches and not really in ranked, I wouldn't think. Moving on, we also have the L-Star and Devotion having some pretty major changes. So they have essentially flipped spots. The L-Star is no longer a care package weapon. It is a regular world drop. It takes energy ammo, and there is no longer any reloading. So the gun works very similarly to what you would expect back from Titanfall 2, where it does not require a reload. You can dump the trigger, and your only downside is that if you fire it for too long consecutively, it will overheat. But the overheat reload that you are used to from the care package version has been significantly shortened. So the gun is just overall a really solid secondary pickup. One thing that I really like to do with it is I like to run it with something like either a wingman or an R99. And what I'll do is, if I'm in close range, I will start a fight with the L-Star, and I will shoot it until it is nearly overheated. I will stop right before it fully overheats, then I will pocket it, pull out my other gun, mag dump that, or in the case of a wingman, about 3 shots is enough time for me to then switch back to the L-Star and continue mag dumping the L-Star up until it overheats again, and I can keep switching back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, completely foregoing reloads and just being very, very hyper-aggressive. Again, is this a thing that's going to shake up the metagame in ranked and be really important? No. But is it a fun new way to play the game, something that you can do in casual and could potentially be very overpowering for some opponents? Absolutely. Is this something you should try? Yeah. Are games meant to be fun? Yeah. This fits all of those categories very, very nicely. It's worth picking up and trying. I really enjoy the gun. It's not like S tier, it's not amazing, but it's solid. This now means, of course, that the Devotion has been moved over to the care package. So, by default, it will have a gold barrel, it will have turbocharger, it will have 54 rounds in mag, which is higher than it's ever been before, if I'm not mistaken, and it will have a bruiser scope and a purple stock. So, this is the most decked out Devotion you could possibly ask for, with pretty much the best optic you could ask for. So, it is very, very strong. I am a huge fan. When I saw this change in the patch notes before I played it, I was scratching my head and really wondering why they made the change, and I wasn't sure I liked it. But the instant that I picked that Devotion up and played with it, and the instant I picked up the L-Star and played with it with their new balance and whatever, it's so great. This was the change that Apex needed 8 months ago. It was so, so good, and I really, really recommend going for that Devotion now, because it is game changing. It is so good. It is, it is as good as Kraber and Mastiff. It's very strong. Give it a try. In terms of other weapon changes, we have some overall changes to energy weapons. So you can no longer get energy mags, which was accidentally added to the game, or I guess removed from the game a couple of weeks ago, and now we kind of see why. Because the Devotion is no longer in the loot pool, and the L-Star doesn't make sense to have an extended magazine on it because there is no magazine, there's only one other energy weapon left, and that is the Havoc. And there's no sense in having energy mags if there's only one energy weapon that can take an energy mag. And you might be thinking, well, what about the triple take? Well, there was a change overall to snipers as well. So there is a new class of weapon, or I guess of ammo and attachments for them, which is going to be, well, sniper rifles. So you have sniper ammo. The weapons that fit in that category are going to be the triple take, the DMR, the charge rifle, which is also a missing energy weapon now technically, and finally the Sentinel. So now they take the following attachments: a sniper stock, a sniper scope, and a sniper magazine, which has essentially replaced energy magazines. So these go, as you would expect, white, blue, purple, level 1, 2, and 3. Not really a whole lot to discuss there. They also, of course, take the brand new ammo type, which is sniper rounds. So you can pick them up in quantities of 10 from the ground, and they will stack to quantities of 20 in your inventory per stack. So sniper ammo is going to take up a pretty significant amount of room in your inventory if you want to have a lot of it. But that's kind of the point, is that Apex has been in a bit of a sniper meta, at least at a super high level, for a long time, especially with Gibraltar. So something to kind of shake that up a little bit, to give energy weapons a new identity, to get rid of the ammo economy issues they were having, where, for example, a DMR takes heavy bullets, so like you barely need any heavy ammo to run it, and just things like that. This is a way for them to approach the situation from a different angle and change the ammo economy in a way that is much more healthy for the game. It may sound weird on paper, but trust me, once you play it and once you get used to it, I think you're probably going to agree with the vast majority of people out there that this is an overall really good change for the game. It feels good, it's fun, it's engaging, whatever. Like, you might think it's not good, but the loot variety is not really hurt too much because there's no more energy mags, so the sniper mags just take over, and then nothing else is really different. There's just an addition of sniper ammo now. So it's fine. It works A-okay. Oh, and as a quick side before I forget, the turbocharger attachment has also been removed from the game, since again, only the Havoc is able to use it, so they just pretty much dumpstered it for now. Maybe if there's more energy weapons in the future, you could see that return, but for now, turbocharger is vaulted away, and the only attachment the Havoc can take will be select fire. But they did buff select fire for the Havoc. It now has a slightly increased rate of fire, and it feels very, very, very good. So worth trying. It really honestly is. But then again, I've been an apologist for that attachment on the Havoc for a very long time. No one likes it, and I thought it was fine. They made it better now. I think it's worth trying. Hit scan is always going to be good in a battle royale like this. Next up, we've got the G7, which has been repositioned a little bit. So it is no longer technically a sniper rifle. It is considered an assault rifle now, which means that it cannot equip sniper optics, and it will take assault rifle stabilizers, assault rifle stocks. So it is completely pulled out of the sniper category in terms of what attachments go on it. However, because it's an assault rifle, it still uses light ammo just like before, still takes light mags. All that is the same. Your rate of fire is reduced a little bit, and your time between shots while you're in double tap mode is increased a little bit. So they're just trying to bring that rate of fire down a little bit, get that DPS down just a touch, because the gun has been deemed pretty OP in competitive circles, in high-level ranked circles for quite a while now. So any little change, any little touch is hopefully going to help that, but I think this might be a little too light of a touch. So let me know in the comment section down below if you're an Apex Predator, if you're a high-level player, because I am not at that level in ranked just because I don't play it. I just play casual all day, and I don't bother with ranked because I don't really have a team, whatever. You guys don't care about my stories. It's not a circle that I play in regularly. So let me know what you think about the G7 with these changes, because I don't have a strong opinion. I don't really like the gun personally anyways. I just tend to not perform well with it. It doesn't suit me very well or my playstyle, so my takes on this are going to be really shaky. So look to the comments for some takes from people who are much higher level than me and use the gun a lot more to see how it might differ and what your playstyle might need to adjust to with how this gun has changed. As for a couple of more really minor changes, these are things that I don't think are super important, but they're at least just good to know. R99 damage has been dropped from 12 to 11 per bullet. Your magazine size has increased by a couple of bullets at base, and in the white mag, it's up by 1 bullet in the rare mag, which is blue, and then it has not changed at all in your purple mag. So base is 18 to 20, common is 20, now 22, rare was 23, now 24, and then epic was 27 and is still 27. In practice, to be completely honest, I do not feel any of these changes pretty much at all, but I guess your mileage may vary. Technically, the DPS of the R99 has dropped, but it still has excellent DPS and accuracy close range and is still just a super strong gun, so I don't think you should look at this change all too much. The Prowler has also had a small buff. It is now dealing 15 damage per shot, up from 14. Again, this is not really a big deal. This is not going to change how you use the weapon or it significantly change your times to kill in most situations. Anytime it does, it's going to be a weird side situation. I wouldn't worry about the 1 bullet difference in most cases with the Prowler. I think you're more worried about the consistency and just the long-term trigger just magazine dumping basically with this gun when you have it in full auto and purple mag and whatever. You just more care about the fact that it is an accurate, easy-to-control bullet hose that will just shoot for a very long time before you dump the magazine fully. So 1 damage per bullet, in my opinion, is not a big deal, but again, your mileage may vary. So if you have a cool anecdote, let us know. Next up, PC players rejoice. The Hemlock's single-fire rate of fire has been increased a little bit. It's nowhere near what it used to be back at launch, but it shoots a little faster now. There have been no damage changes or anything otherwise. It is simply a raw rate of fire increase for single shot mode. So we'll see if this feels better for some people and if they would classify it as usable. I know one of the people that I play with all the time is a big fan of it. They really like the way that it feels, especially with, of all things, a 3x scope on it. So give it a shot, I suppose. I still am not a big fan of the Hemlock. I prefer to use it in burst fire rather than single fire most of the time. But at those long-range fights where I have to use single fire, the increased rate of fire is okay, I suppose. Your headshots on this thing still hit pretty hard, doing over 40 damage to most targets. So it's pretty respectable, you know? If you can hit those headshots or just kind of spam your way into them at that range, it kind of feels almost as good as like an Anvil receiver flatline. So, I mean, if it's what you get, it's a little more usable now. Is it the ideal? No, but when you low roll into a Hemlock like this as an average player, I think you're going to like it a little bit more. Next up, we got some wingman changes. Your base magazine is up from 4 to 5, but the white magazine is still 6. The blue magazine is down to 7 from what used to be 8, and the purple magazine is down to 8 from what used to be 10. So every level of magazine will give you 1 more bullet. So your progression is now 5, 6, 7, 8. This is fine, in my opinion, honestly. I really like having 5 in the magazine with no mag attachment. I think that is a pretty sizable buff for the early game. If you happen to high roll into a wingman, having that 1 extra bullet can be very, very important. And by the time you get a purple mag in it, you really don't care that you've gone from 10 to 8. Like, 8 is still enough bullets for you to just spam your heart out, and then just pop back into cover whenever to reload really quickly. This is actually, in my opinion, this is kind of more of a wingman buff than a nerf, if I have to be completely honest. I really think that it kind of is a little bit more of a buff than a nerf in most situations, because the wingman is always going to be used as that long-range spammy weapon. Sure, you can use it close range and rock people, but just the ammo efficiency on the wingman for just spamming long range, 150, 200, 250, 300 meters, whatever, and your ability to just luck into some shots hitting here and there. Doesn't matter how many bullets are in your magazine at that point. And at close range, if you're using your wingman and you're able to dump 8 rounds straight out of a purple mag and you don't get killed in the process, I mean, maybe the people you're playing against aren't the best anyways. So I think this is overall kind of a wingman buff, but that might be a little minor bit of a hot take. But let me know in the comments what you think of that one. And finally, the last major update around the weapons that I think actually matters and is worth mentioning is going to be that the gold weapons have been rotated a bit. So now it's going to be the Havoc with your select fire on it, of course, and a 2x4 scope. It's going to be your P2020 with hammer points, a Sentinel with Digi Threat and otherwise maxed out, going to be a Prowler with your select fire, and it's going to be a 301 with your Anvil. So this is just putting all of those cool different hop-ups on display, as well as displaying their brand new gun. This is really basic, simple stuff here for the gold rotation, and good luck, I guess. Thank you all so much for watching, and I hope that you've learned something new. If you all have any questions, comments, concerns, arguments, whatever you might have, leave them in the comment section down below. I try to read every single comment, and we'll see if we can't have a good discussion about it. Once again, I will be posting lots more videos all about Season 4 in the coming days, weeks, and over the course of the next month or 2 as well. So be on the lookout for lots more content coming from me. Thank you all for being here. We'll see you again soon. Take care.